Hi, everyone. Today, I want to share an amazing journey with you how mastering English led me to my dreams, my purpose, and ultimately, my success. If you have big aspirations, whether it's becoming a doctor, an engineer, a lawyer, a business leader, English is a non negotiable part of that path. It's spoken by over 1.5 billion people globally and dominates travel, commerce, and the digital world. Without it, you risk missing out on job opportunities, international friendships, and understanding content in its original form. But don't worry, it's never too late to start. I did it, and so can you. My name is Sophia, and I'm from a small town in Brazil. My family wasn't wealthy, but we had what we needed. My father drove a taxi, and my mother taught at a public school. They always told me, education opens every door. Since childhood, I had one clear dream. I wanted to become a doctor. I still remember the exact moment that dream became my mission. I was 10, sitting in a hospital while my younger brother battled a high fever. My parents were distraught until a kind, calm doctor appeared. He reassured us, treated my brother, and within hours, my brother was smiling again. That doctor changed my life. Right then, I promised myself, one day I will save lives like he did. But as I got older, I realized something difficult. Every medical textbook, every journal, every lecture was in English. In my public school, we barely scratched the surface of the language. I could say basic phrases, but understanding full sentences? Impossible. I remember being asked to read out loud in English class. I stared at the page, and the letters seemed to dance. I don't know, I whispered, embarrassed. My classmates laughed. That day, I came home and cried in silence. I thought, how can I become a doctor if I can't even read a sentence in English? Then something happened that changed my life forever. One night, my father came home and sat beside me. He asked, "Why are you always so down lately?" I told him everything. "Papa, I can't be a doctor without English, and I'm failing." He paused and said, "Then go learn English. Go somewhere you're surrounded by it every day." I was shocked. "But how? We can't afford that." He smiled and replied, "We don't have much, but we'll find a way. Your dream matters." That night, my parents and I sat down to find the best place for me to learn. Why did we choose Canada? English is spoken everywhere. You're forced to learn fast. The education system is outstanding. Canadians are warm and welcoming. Compared to the US or UK, Canada was financially more doable. It wasn't easy. We were just a middle-class family, and my parents used almost all their savings to fund my flight, tuition, and initial living expenses. Before I left, my mother held my hand and said, "We're giving you all we have." And so, with one suitcase, a bit of money, and a dream too big for my little town, I boarded a flight to Toronto. When I landed, everything was unfamiliar. The freezing cold shocked me. I'd never experienced snow before. The food was strange, people spoke quickly, and worst of all, I couldn't understand anyone. At the airport, a man asked, "Do you need a taxi?" I froze. I didn't understand. I smiled awkwardly and showed him my address on my phone. That night, in my rented room, I cried. What am I doing here? I don't belong. The next day, I started English school. The teacher was kind and welcoming, but when it was my turn to speak, I stood up, hands trembling. "My name's Sophia. I'm from Brazil." I saw a few students snicker. I sat down feeling humiliated. That night, I made a decision. No matter how hard it gets, I will learn this language. I will not give up. I created a strategy. The headphone trick. I walked around the city pretending to be on a call, describing everything I saw in English. The three-word rule. I learned and used 3 new English words every day. No subtitles. I watched shows in English without reading, forcing my ears to understand. My first small win came at a coffee shop. The barista asked, "What can I get you today?" My heart raced, but I said, "A cappuccino, please." She replied, "With almond or regular milk?" I answered smoothly, "Regular milk, please." It was a short exchange, but I felt victorious. Learning English was one mountain. Living in Canada was another. It was expensive. I shared a tiny room, cooked all my meals, and worked part-time in a cafe to survive. I was exhausted, but I kept going. After 4 months, something magical happened. I stopped translating in my head. One day, someone asked, "Do you need a bag?" And without thinking, I replied, "No thanks, I have one." I was finally thinking in English. Here's what helped me most. Practice speaking every day, even alone. Stop translating. Start thinking in English. Speak to native speakers, even if it's scary. Surround yourself with the language. Make mistakes. Learn from them. Never quit. 6 months in, I was improving, but I was still terrified of talking to Canadians. One day, I made a bold decision. In a coffee shop, a girl beside me said, "This line is long, huh?" I forced myself to respond, "Yeah, really long." And just like that, we had a conversation. That was the turning point. I stopped fearing native speakers. I started using the shadowing technique, repeating TV lines with the same tone and pace. Oh my God, that's insane. I'd pause, mimic, and repeat. I also wrote down every mistake I made and corrected it. Eventually, I began joining events, using conversation apps, and speaking more with my coworkers. I pushed myself to make real Canadian friends. Life was still hard. I was always tired. I had only $5 left in my bank account at one point. But I remembered my family's sacrifice. I couldn't afford to fail. When it was time to apply for medical school, I had to pass the IELTS. I studied every day, writing essays, speaking into my phone, reading advanced medical texts. The day of the test, I was terrified. But I said to myself, "You didn't come this far to quit." I passed. I cried tears of joy. I got accepted into a top Canadian medical university. The real challenge began. Complex lectures, difficult vocabulary, high expectations. But I powered through. I recorded lectures, studied non-stop, and graduated as Dr. Sophia Williams. My first job at a major hospital paid $88,000. I stared at my bank account in disbelief. Just a few years before, I had $5. Now, I could help my parents financially. But the real reward? Saving lives. One day, a little girl came in, scared and sick. I held her hand and said, "You'll be okay." Her mother whispered, "Thank you, doctor." At that moment, I felt something I'd never felt before. Pride. Let me tell you this. Don't settle for weakness. Don't accept being average. Transform yourself. Not for others, but for you. Nobody's going to save you. Not your teachers, not your friends, not even your parents. You have two choices. Close this message and keep making excuses. Start right now. Learn English. Change your life. If you're ready to become the best version of yourself, this is your sign. You can do it. Now go make it happen.